firstly going to peel and stick your stick and stitch pattern from your embroidery pack into the centre of your garment. Now for the letter, we're going to use chain stitch. So we're going to insert the needle through the fabric. I find moving the garment into the direction that we're stitching in helps. You're going to poke the needle 1 stitch length forward, hooking the yarn over the needle as such to create a loop. You poke the needle through the same hole. You're going to bring it up a stitch length forward, hooking the yarn over the needle and then pulling it taut. So through the same hole, and what you can see I'm doing here is I'm holding the yarn taut to one side with my thumb. This just helps to create tension and keep the stitches really neat. So hold it to the side, needle a stitch length forward and hook the yarn over before pulling the yarn taut. And you repeat this process to complete the whole of your letter that's in the middle of the pattern. And as you get towards the end of your letter, you finish those final few stitches. And then after the last stitch, which we're just doing here, you're simply going to poke the needle down through the fabric. Then we're going to turn the garment over and you're going to use back stitch just to ensure that it stays in place and doesn't unravel. So just 3 or 4 times bring that needle back through the reverse of the chain on the inside of your garment, and that just holds it in place. Now for lazy daisy stitch, you're going to bring the needle up through the fabric at the point where the petal will start. I've left a couple of inches of yarn at the back of the fabric that I'll use to tie off at the end. I'm then inserting the needle back down into the same spot. I've created a little loop here. And then I'm bringing the needle up through the fabric at the tip of the petal inside the loop of thread. The loop is hooked over the needle. I've pulled the petal flat and anchored into place. So the needle up through the next petal, the base of it, the needle through the same hole. I've pulled to create a loop and then bring the needle up through the inside of the loop and a small stitch to anchor it into place at the tip of the petal. And you just repeat this process for all of the petals. I'm following here in a clockwise direction, so just bringing the needle up slightly to the right of where the last petal was, repeating this process until all petals are complete. Once you've finished the last of your petals, you're going to poke the needle back through to the reverse of the fabric. Then I pushed the yarn through to where that first bit of yarn was for when we started the shape. I'm just tying the ends off together and cutting off any remnant yarn. Next up, we're going to repeat this process for the smaller flowers. So all of the little daisies that feature in the floral frame, we're going to use Lazy Daisy Stitch to fill in the petals, just as we did with the first larger flower. So the needle up through the base of the petal, just the same as you did before, back through the same spot, pull till you've created a little loop, the needle up through the tip of the petal, pull the yarn taut till it's the same size of the petal, and then a little stitch to anchor the petal into place. And you do this again in a clockwise direction until all of the petals have been filled. And again, we're going to tie this off the same as we did with the first one. So weaving that final piece of yarn through, which is the bit of yarn that you've got left over from when you started the flower, just tie them off. I like to do 3 little knots. Pull that tight, and then we're just going to snip it off. Next up, we're going to add the roses to the floral frame. So first of all, we're going to start by creating a little wheel. So the yarn is going to come up through the centre of the wheel, and then a straight stitch down to the edge of the circle, up through the edge, and then down through the centre. And you're going to repeat this with a series of little straight stitches until each of those 5 lines on the base of the wheel have been filled. Now once you've got the base of the rose and all 5 of those little spokes are in place, you're then going to bring the yarn back up through the fabric just slightly off centre. You're going to weave it over, under each of the spokes until the whole shape is filled and you can't see any of the spokes from the base of the wheel. This just creates a really lovely little 3D rose effect. Such a simple shape to do that just looks really brilliant. And again, we're going to tie this off the same as we have done with the others. Just a few simple knots, and then you can cut that off. Next up, we're going to add the leaves, and we're going to do fishbone stitch. So we're going to do 1 straight vertical stitch from the tip of the leaf, as such. Then you're going to bring the yarn through the bottom of the leaf, or the left-hand side, and then bring the needle down to the end of where that first stitch was. Then up through the other side of the leaf, down into the centre, and pull that taut. And then we're going to go through the bottom and through the centre. And then again it's going to be through the top and through the centre. And we're going to keep these stitches really close together and continue following just that central line of the leaf until the whole shape has been filled. Next up, we're going to use split stitch for the little stem of the leaf. So you're going to create one simple stitch, bring the needle a stitch length forward, and you're going to bring it back and pierce the centre of the previous stitch. It's quite similar to back stitch, but you're bringing the yarn through the centre of the previous stitch. And that's where the term split the stitch comes from. So yarn up through the fabric, and the needle through the centre of that previous stitch. And you just continue doing that along the length of the line, just a little wreath surrounding the letter. So we're going to keep it really simple for the body of the bee and use satin stitch. So this is just a series of short, straight stitches that go from one side of the shape to the other. You want to ensure that the stitches are as close together as possible, just to create a really smooth satin-like finish. So we're coming up through the bottom of the bee and then pushing the needle down directly opposite the top of the bee. And you continue these stitches until the whole shape has been filled and you can't see any of the garment coming through. Now we're using a much thinner weight yarn to add the little stripes to the bee. So I've got the thinner black yarn. I'm doing exactly the same as I did before with the satin stitch. So bringing the needle up through the bottom and down through the top. But I want to leave a little gap rather than the stitches touching each other so that you can see the yellow from the bee's body coming through. So I think 3 or 4 little stitches just to add those stripes to the length of the bee. And the same as we did for the petals of the flowers, we're going to do Lazy Daisy for the wings of the bee. So we're going to put the needle down through the fabric. We're going to bring it up at the base of where the wing is. And pipe the needle down through the same spot, creating a little loop. And bring the needle up to the tip of where the wing is, on the inside of the loop. Pull the yarn taut and then just anchor it into place with a tiny little stitch. Then we're going to tie the ends off together as we've been doing for the previous shapes. French knots for the centre of the flowers. So bring the needle up through the fabric, wrap the yarn around the needle 3 times and poke it back through the same hole. Now to create a really neat centre, I'm just pulling here on the little bit of yarn from when I started the knot. That just creates a little bit of tension and pulls the knot tight. So bring the yarn up through, hold it with the non-needle hand, wrap it round 3 times and poke it through the same hole, and those little loops will just go down the length of the needle. And then pull that tight, and there you have it, your completed floral initial wreath.